Hey, Thomas, how you doing?
I'm good, Mike. Uh,
Good, good. Yeah, so we're here. We kind of missed we had a few missteps. We had kind of had both had busy weeks last week, but in any case, we're back at it with the grab bag. And this week was very interesting. Actually, some news broke today that we're gonna get into here when we start rolling through here first. But just to introduce myself, I'm Mike.
I'm Thomas, and we're the first to last the Nerdom, and we talk
Yep.
about a little bit of everything under the sun of the Nerdom umbrella. I was going to say rainbow, but I guess that works too.
Hey, yeah, sure. Pot of gold, because we're rolling up here in Irish country, St. Patty's Day, so that apropos. Uh,
Yep.
but
I'm very much Irish, so yeah, that works.
absolutely, yeah. So I noticed this, and I'm just kind of pulling up here. Us, we're gonna do a little gazing here as we go through here, but I kind of wanted to kind of show we're not doing too bad. We got 102 uploads and we got some subscribers, and sure we're nobodies, but and we're having
Mhm.
fun. I think people get that. But I did kind of. There's this thing that you actually told me about this, the similar channels box. I just want to kind of is I guess this is like YouTube channels that do similar kind of things,
Mhm.
similar-ish genres and
Mhm.
reviews and that kind of thing. I wouldn't say we do really reviews. I think we do more long form recommendations
Mhm.
on that. That's one of our main things that we do. But anyway, so here we are. And I know it says that we're a B minus now, so
Yeah,
that's good.
we're be nice, and also if you look, most of those channels, their subscribers are in the thousands, and we're 32. So and they group us with that. So I guess that's because our views are on par with those. So that's saying something.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. We love to entertain here and cover our things. Anyway, our last one. Just want to give a plug here before we get going to our last video here, which was we covered possession.
Hmm.
Very very ground shaking, gravity, very heavy, dense film
Yeah.
that we just covered. We spent quite some time. I think we had gone that long in a long time covering it. But there's a lot to cover and dissect there, and I highly recommend not just our take on it, but also going to see that movie as well.
Yep, which is on Shutter currently. Shutter, and
Yep.
I saw that it's AMC Plus, but I don't know anyone that really has AMC Plus. But if
Yeah, I
you
don't know what
do,
that is.
you can watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I assume that's them streaming or whatever. But I will
Mhm.
note that if you're curious as to where you can go see it, if you click on our show, it's right in the description. Has the direct link that you can go off
Yep.
to Shutter, that
Hmm.
streaming service, and watch it, or
Hmm.
watch it by other means. Just
Yeah.
Watch is what
And
service that we
also,
use.
yeah, and Amazon, it has an umbrella of other streaming services. So, which I have, I'm subscribed to Shutter through Amazon, and so yeah, and I think it's the same price or a little cheaper through Amazon. I get it for like five
Yep.
bucks a month. So,
Nice.
it's one of
Nice.
my cheaper streaming, and I'm a horror hound, so I'm always watching something on that. So, yeah, if you love horror, you might want to check out Shutter. By the way, we're not sponsored by them, but hey, if you guys out there want to, come on,
Yeah.
Shutter, become
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
nerdum.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny you say that you do that through Prime because I recently I had my HBO one through Apple and then I was like it's too like whatever, so I switched everything and put it into YouTube TV so I can
Oh,
just go there and see it and whatever. But
mhm,
there's so we'll see, and I also can do the app too. But
mhm,
anyway, the point being, I wanted to really do this real quick before we got rolling here. Our most popular episode of all time. We might
mhm,
as well keep gassing it up was everything everywhere nerdom at once
mhm,
and that's a great that was a fun podcast too
mhm.
go check that out if you
Yep.
want to see. I think it's some kind of Michelle Yowen,
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, she who is played in several sci-fi things throughout the years. She actually played on Star Trek Discovery as one of the main people before
Mhm.
it went off a cliff, and we won't go on there. But anyway, wonderful, talented actress. I believe she won an award
Yep.
One of them shiny gold statue
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah, and actually, that movie's up for Academy Award, and I think she's up for actress, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis for best supporting actress. So, yeah, we're hoping that maybe if it does win the Academy Award, the interest for the movie will pop up, and our video will get even more views. But yeah, it seems to get a view or two every week. A few weeks ago it was at 340, and now we're at a little over 350. So yeah, and it's our most favorited or liked video as well. So the
Absolutely.
people that actually watch it seem to like it too. So
Absolutely, yeah, and also, maybe that's not to your taste. I guarantee you will find something that you'll like on our back catalog, especially if you just sort by popular. The one I also wanted to call attention to is your coverage of the cannibals. That's pretty cool. I liked watching that. Just me, myself, and I. But in any case, we have also some other heavy hitters. But anyway, I digress.
yep.
We could navel gaze all day long at our stats and ranks and all this and that. But I think it's best that we get to what we cover here in the grab bag. And I wanted to lead this off first. So this kind of makes me sad a little bit. But what's going on with this one?
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of people leaving Dune: The Sisterhood, which is the HBO Max series that is supposed to expand the Dune universe. But yeah, it's there's several people that are leaving the project on this. I think it was yeah. And I know that Denis Villeneuve had kind of left it a little midway through because he wanted to focus on the movie, and it seems like everybody else is kind of. I think the troubles sort of took started hitting when I think people started complaining that this movie, as far or this series, didn't have a lot of female producers on it. I think they injected those into it, and I
Mm.
don't know what happened after that. But yeah, once that happened, some people started dropping. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to take from all of
I,
it.
I the thing is, this literally okay. So and we're not going to get into it. We don't get it. But there's the not to get political or anything, but there's like woke and anti woke and this
Mhm,
and that. Team red and team whatever, blah blah blah. Anyway, the point being, you could not have a more perfect setup for a progressive view of the future, whatever you want to call that.
mhm,
Uh, but you get there through this Dune. This didn't even scratch the surface of the uniqueness and eccentricness of Dune. You literally have a property that checks all the boxes in the whole wide world that you could ever imagine, checking for what's important in today's sensibilities and modern audience, whatever you want to call it.
mhm,
I would rather them just hit the brakes, put it off to the side, freeze it off to the side, and just wait
mhm.
until you can come back to it with
Yeah.
a Villeneuve, preferably. Honestly, that would be great.
Mhm,
It might be severe overkill, but the whole thing of what Zaslav is wanting to do is he's not just wanting to make a one-off movie here or there. He wants to be able to spawn franchises off these things, and
mhm,
also revisit other franchises that they've already tapped, which we
mhm,
covered. We covered a while ago, but where they were going to do Lord of the Rings, I think. But anyway,
mhm.
that's all. We'll hit those points
Yeah.
hard. But I just want them, if they're going to make it. The only thing I ask is that you make it with as high a quality artistry and quality as possible, and please don't let it be this thing that's just box checking.
Mhm. Yeah.
That whether that's real or imagined or whatever you want to call it, it's just like
Right.
I just want a good story, and
Mhm,
there's really great potential here
mhm,
if they play their cards right. I will give HBO credit pre Zaslav, after Zaslav current. HBO does, they are smart enough to know what will work for their franchises like Game of Thrones and the new version of that. I think they did a very good job
mhm.
with making sure getting the most out of that, good quality. I don't think anybody would argue that it was poor quality at all. And that's just one more thing in their favor.
Yeah.
So I hope they do. I hope they do justice to it. Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on. Anything else you have to add?
Oh,
Sorry.
just I guess we didn't say that the Chernobyl executive producer that was on it, Jonah Renick,
Oh, that's right.
was the one that left along with the lead actress. That's a little concerning that the lead actress is leaving the project. And I think they said that the spokesperson for Renick said that his work had completed on the
Hmm.
series, and that's why he left. But if the lead actress
Okay.
has left, what was his role as executive producer in the whole thing? So yeah, it's they're not going to tell you the whole story. They're just going to tell you
Yeah.
what as much as they can. So but yeah, it doesn't bode well for the series, but you know, obviously it's not gone yet. We've heard troubling things about various projects that turned out to be really great. So you
Sure.
never know.
Sure.
No, that's probably a rarity. Oop, am I gone?
Yep.
Oh,
You're back.
okay, good.
Up
All
there
right.
you go.
Sorry about that. But yeah, hitting cables is never a good thing. But yeah, so I was just kind of demonstrating. You know, when you have problems, a lot of times you can come back from them. So, but yeah, we'll hope for the best. We'll hope for the best on Dune. So who knows? At least the Dune 2 seems to be on track and should be a good thing coming this November.
Yeah, yeah. The only other thing I was going to say was, who knows? But as long as they take their time and they don't mess things up too much, I'll take it
Mhm.
as a good sign. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say, I've heard a lot. There's there's endless friggin' YouTubers dedicated to pick your favorite modern thing: Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, whatever. There's always the detractors. There's Snyderverse people, whatever. There's always people for every little cut and niche thing that you could ever do. One thing I am pretty happy to hear is I don't hear anything about any of this that kind of pops up on our occasional. I think we have some overlapping YouTubers we like to follow. But one of the
Mhm.
good things, I never hear anything about this, which gives me a little bit of hope that
Yeah.
they're keeping the bad things or the things under wraps or whatever, and it's not really that big of a deal. It's not like an endless sideshow for other things, like
Mhm.
where it's just TMZ every second of the day, whether it's justified or not. Anyway, but moving on. Speaking of rumors and TV shows going forward, so this is kind of that thing that I was talking about earlier, which is like the
Mhm.
Zaslav
Mhm.
retapping into previously used content, like Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
That's in the works, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, and Harry Potter is another one.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, yeah.
what is your thought? You really are a Harry Potter fan. Like
Mhm.
I'm not for or against. Like I definitely
Right.
appreciate certain
Yeah.
aspects of it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and they one of the rumors was that they're going to reboot the Harry Potter movies, or that I don't think will is a good idea. However, the rumor, I guess this is speculating on a Hogwarts Legacy series, which maybe I guess the series would take place in that time period with those particular characters, which I think would be a cool idea. There's the one of the good things about Hogwarts Legacy is that it does have a good storyline to it. Um, there's a mystery. I haven't finished the game yet. Hopefully soon. I've got some time off, and I'll probably like dive in and finish it out. I'm probably like 2/3 of the way through, but yeah, it's set in the 1800s, and it's kind of a cool time period. You don't have to tie it obviously to Harry Potter or anything like that. So it's a good you could tell a story with new characters, and that way it would fill out the universe, so to speak. And the school Hogwarts is a character in and of itself, so it retains the same the memories or the feels of the previous series, but would tell a new story, which would reinvigorate it with maybe new characters. Whereas I guess the Fantastic Beasts didn't really, I guess, capture the audience that they wanted. But I think
Not like this game.
Legacy could do that, especially, obviously the Legacy game has proven itself and proven that people are still interested in that franchise. So a show based off the game, I could see that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like you, I mean, when we covered this a few weeks ago when the new game came out, it was kind of our
Hmm.
video game centric episode. We'll dip back into it a little bit later on, but yeah, there's an audience. People are hungry for it, and they want good content, and they're serving it up.
Yep.
More that
Mhm.
let good spawn more good. Until it's time to put it away again.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm planning on finishing up the my personal playthrough for it, but yeah, me and Mike have always been kind of interested in maybe streaming it a little bit. So there's interest in
Absolutely.
this game still. We could maybe do a stream and maybe restart it with the because there's four different houses to the when you join the school, you could pick your house, and maybe we could run through it with the different house, and we could maybe have Mike create a character, and
Sure. Yeah.
or if we get a sizable audience, we could have the audience kind of tell us what to do with the character, and it kind of play around with it.
Yeah, and if people are curious, I already know what house I am, and this is kind of a little joke between me and Thomas, but I'm definitely House Atreides for sure. That is my house.
Mhm. Mhm. And
But yeah, no,
I'm 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 Hufflepuff for life.
yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, and if you haven't noticed, we've kind of gone through some changes here. We're maturing our outfit here and hopefully outgrowing the era of Zoom and Teams. I just wanted to say comment on Thomas's sound quality and video quality.
Yeah,
Aces.
yeah. I
Hopefully,
stepped up with a new mic and camera. If you see the cool lights on the camera that or the microphone, that's an upgrade.
absolutely, yeah. And what the point being that we will definitely be extending ourselves out into the video game world here and
Mhm.
figuring out the streaming thing and all this good stuff
Yeah,
and
we're
getting
getting
after it.
we're getting bigger and better each day, every stream.
Absolutely,
we,
yeah.
you know,
And we definitely have had some kerfluffles for for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, anyway, moving on to things that change. We're in some actors news. So you shared this, and it was just is this an AI thing or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
along those lines?
Yeah, kind of leading off of our previous podcast about the AI of the future. This is sort of a leading into it. Michael Douglas, obviously a smart man. He noticed in the new Ant-Man movies, they kind of digitally with AI kind of made him younger in those movies, so they could do a flashback. So he knows that as technology increases, there are going to be questions as to whether or not they'll use the likenesses of older actors in new films, after they've passed away. So he's looking into how he can maybe bequeath or pass on his image to his children so that they can make money off of him even after he's he's gone and make new movies with him.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
We'll have to keep an eye on it for sure. And
yeah.
let me just make sure that. Yeah, it's going to be very curious to see how they sort this stuff out, where
Mhm.
the lines are and where they aren't.
Yeah. There's a big
This
controversies about deep fakes and AI generated art. There's like a big
right
clash between artist and
copyright.
AI.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Oh
uh,
yeah. That and it kind of reminds me of like a news story I saw like in the last couple of years. Like some tattoo artist had done some famous work on some major sports star, and I guess that sports star's likeness in a video game. had that tattoo, and they sued and said, well, you can't do that, and they kind of sort of won, but they didn't. They didn't really get any kind of significant, substantial monetary thing. But anyway, it's just kind of interesting. Just
Yeah,
never know.
definitely.
Yeah, and kind of going on into more sad news here, where Michael Douglas is looking to preserve his legacy. Tom Sizemore, who, God, he's been in a lot of great things. He passed away following a brain aneurysm.
Yep.
He
Three of
was
the
in
big
Twin
things
Peaks.
Twin Peaks,
Yep.
Grand Theft Auto, Vice City,
Yep.
Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, great actor. I know he's had some struggles with substances in the past, and I know he's had a kind of a rough go of it in life. And it seemed like he's having a somewhat of a comeback with being in the new Twin Peaks series and different things. So it's definitely sad to see him pass at relatively young age of 61.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks like that. It makes me want to go watch. I think I don't know. I don't want to say. I don't want to sound dumb. But
Yeah, yeah. I always confuse him with another actor as well. So, yeah. I always confuse him with Michael Madsen, I think. So yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, was Madsen in Heat?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Michael Madsen. Oh, that's true. No.
I think Sizemore was in Heat, wasn't he? Or no? Yeah. We're yeah. You could correct us in the comments down below.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I was right.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you. This is the Seinfeld-esque thing about nothing. Like, I'm happy. I'm proud of myself. Like, this is like one of the 5 things I remember. He was in Heat. He was in Heat. That's why I was like. That's why I was like. Because what? Anyway, great movie to see. Heat. It's like one of the best heist movies modern that you could see.
Oh, and a side note to Heat. Heat has a sequel, a novel written by the writer of Heat and director Michael Mann. There's a Heat sequel that just came out recently. So if you're a Heat fan, you might want to check that out.
Yep. Yeah, let's put that in the notes here for us to. Oh, Heat 2. Yep. No, we'll just do the direct link here.
Yep. Michael Mann. He's Michael Mann, best known for being the creator of Miami Vice. He also did Last of the Mohicans. He directed that. He directed quite a few great movies.
Mohicans is one of my all-time favorite friggin' movies of all in discussion. It's got everything. But anyway, kind of going from cool to kind of sort of maybe lame. I don't know. I don't. I'm pretty forgiving with this particular individual. I don't really particularly like their hot takes sometimes, but I still can enjoy them, and I definitely have had a lot of their movies that have been pretty pivotal, or definitely touchstones in nostalgia for me when I've seen them. And of course, I'm talking about Seth Rogen's thing. I don't know. I kind of heard the backside of this a little bit in the last few days since I shared this to you. But what was your interest in this?
Yeah, Seth Rogen, like many celebrities, probably should stay off of Twitter. They show they probably tweet things that they probably shouldn't, and it gives certainly bad look and bad take. It looks like sometimes he loses the funny in things. But he has given us some great things. He's executive producer on a lot of TV projects for Garth Ennis stuff, like The Boys. He was the guy that brought The Boys along with his, I think, producing partner. He's come out with some great things. Although, like I said, I think he's in recent years have kind of lost the funny. I don't think he does funny things anymore. I don't know about this project. I'm more of a, when it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I was old school, the dark gritty comic book. I was never really part of the cartoon. I did like the first movie of the TMNT. But yeah, I've kind of disengaged with the franchise. So yeah, when I heard about this, I wasn't quite all that interested, so I didn't dive too
I
much into it.
Yeah, I guess I got excited because I am forgiving for him
Mhm.
because he has things that he's had a hand in haven't outright sucked despite things being woke, anti-woke, or
Yep.
whatever. So like I'm okay with that. And the other side of the coin is that, to be honest with you, they already made absolute turds of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies in like the last couple ones, the one with Megan Fox
Mhm.
and the sequel to it or whatever. Nobody
Mhm.
liked those. Like they were creepy, they were weird, they
Mhm.
were rejected by the fandom already. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping like let's get it whatever. But like I like Paul Rudd. I adore Maya Rudolph. Jackie Chan is like that's kind of cool.
Mhm.
But so it's kind of like a benefit of the doubt. We'll see if it sucks, like tear it apart. But you
Mhm.
know it can't lose anything to be hopeful for it anyway. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that it's like kind of like if they do it if they do it right and they
Mhm.
do it tongue in cheek fan service, if they could really do it right and hit all the member berries
Mhm.
for our age range. Anyway, Hope Springs
Yeah.
Eternal. Like
Right.
I saw this and I was like, please be good.
Yeah.
please
I,
don't please
yeah.
don't screw. Please don't go on Twitter and start a fight with somebody about some stupid dumb
Mhm.
crap that nobody gives two bull craps about. You know, like
Mhm.
don't do
Yeah.
that, Seth. Please.
Yeah. Now, if you're, I do have a recommend if you're old school Ninja Turtles fan of the old comic book, the black and white comic book. The original creators did come back in the last couple of years and do one more story with the turtles called The Last Ronin, and it's out as a graphic novel now, completely collected. So
I've heard good things.
go to your local comic book shop. That would be your best bet, but you could also probably find it on Amazon as well. Find that graphic novel and pick it up. I highly recommend it. It was got great art and story. The Last Ronin.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. There we go. We'll put that in the show notes
Hmm.
here. All right. Then we're going to go on to, oop, uh, Star Wars. Okay. So this is kind of breaking today, but it was a Star Wars movie future. So some are in, some are out. The thing is, take this with a big grain of salt, okay? Because I think April 7th is when some big Star Wars celebration Disney event will be happening, and it's if they're going to drop any kind of big news, it's going to be then and there.
Hmm.
This is kind of like foreshadowing. Sometimes
Yeah. I
these
guess
companies that
prepping
do this.
prepping things, yeah.
Right. I think it's always two pronged with this with these people
Hmm.
in entertainment. Like I think they drop something and see what the reaction is, and
Yeah.
then they kind of listen a little bit and then
Hmm.
see like which way it goes, just like their
Hmm.
test screenings and all this.
Right, yeah.
But they feed off of that. I am kind of I'm so far removed from Star Wars. It's not even that I hate it. I don't have ill will toward anything.
Mhm.
I I'm definitely going to kind of show my hand and my opinion a little bit later on. If you get pleasure from it, God bless you. You know, if
Mhm.
you must be in heaven because you got, Mando season 3 that just dropped and started, which we actually haven't even covered, which would be interesting to ask your opinion here in a minute
Mhm.
on the fly here. Cause I know you've probably seen it.
Mhm.
I haven't yet. But nor have I delved into the review sphere. I don't want to hear somebody else's opinion until if I do want to watch. I mean, I care about Thomas's opinion.
Mhm.
He's a little bit closer to cloth to me than some random jackass on YouTube
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
just trying to spin you up for views. But um, so Patty Jenkins is out. Kevin Feige's out. Still potentially in is Rian Johnson. That trilogy presumably is still in play. Um, uh, uh, Now it's my turn to butcher
Mhm.
his name. Uh, uh, Waititi,
Mhm.
who's famous for Guardians of the Galaxy, or excuse me, Thor, Thor, and that fame. He's still in, so we'll see. What you are closer to the Star Wars thing than I am. What was your take on this whole thing that dropped?
Um, yeah, I don't have. I know some people have some bad feelings towards Waititi because of the Thor movies, which his Ragnarok was great. That
Yeah.
last one, Love and Thunder, was a piece of crap. But I don't even know if he was full. Yeah, I don't know if he did it for a check or that he actually thought it was good. I can't see where he actually thought it was a good thing because he's a smart, funny guy. And if you really want to see some of his good work, check out his movie What We Do in the Shadows, and he also
Mm.
executive produces the TV show based off of that, which is really great too. And yeah, Jojo Rabbit that they did is great. So he can do some really good things.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, him doing a Star Wars project isn't scary to me. It could be good. But like you said, I think one of the things that Disney did was that it destroyed the brand loyalty. Whenever they create these franchises, they're creating brand loyalty. If you liken it to, say, the grocery store, they want to get you to treat movies like your groceries. You're always gonna, if you're gonna get ketchup, you're gonna get Heinz, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that. They want to create that brand loyalty. I'm going to go see a Marvel movie. That's what
Right.
they want you to think. They've destroyed that with Star Wars. They've caused people to pick and choose what they want to say, or they just say I don't want none of it. Uh, and they want to rebuild that brand loyalty, and I think they're kind of floundering and trying to find their way. Um, yeah,
You,
I'm
you,
gonna definitely pick and choose my stuff as far as Marvel and Star Wars. Whereas I think in the past, like many others, we had brand loyalty to these projects. Um,
we did it was the first time that we've been through this thing,
mhm,
like where there's a 10-year build up to like a payoff of a storyline that
mhm,
everybody, even grandma, grandpa, everybody could get into it. You didn't have to see everything there, but I was going to say, what if it turns out, and we're not going to know this if we ever do, but suppose that what TD suppose that the movie that was out, the last one that was kind of not so good. Let's just say suppose that the studio kind of took away his vision and gave us like at least like a maybe what if it was his cut that due to his vision. I bet you I bet you it would be far different than whatever the constraints were because what we're running into now, and we'll get into this a little bit later on for my picks for YouTube, but we're running into this kind of diminishing returns, like where woke anti-woke has nothing to do with it. I mean, there's definitely some things there you can latch onto and some patterns that repeat, but you can very clearly point to in a positive or negative, love or hate kind of light, whatever you want to do with that. But I guess my point is that how much is the studio interfering with the true vision of this? And I've kind of called it out before, and I think Midnight's Edge actually said it way before I did. But I think Chris Gore they said something along the lines of like, with DC films, you had, for example, the last one that came out, Black Adam. You
mhm,
had The Rock, who was he was out there. He was on the red carpet. He was doing
mhm,
the publicity and all that. When was the last time you saw that with like Disney, like with a
mhm,
megastar named out pumping out like that? They don't do that. They do it in a much
mhm,
more. I guess the best way I can do it is if you remember back when Steve Jobs was alive and he would do these big Apple events.
mhm,
It was like Apple only allowed in the press that they wanted. They only allowed in the
mhm,
voices that they wanted to put out their thing. And back then, if you were on the blacklist, you were
mhm.
shut out.
Yeah.
Presumably, of course, the internet
Mhm,
made that irrelevant. But I can't help to think that's where Disney is today. They're in that monoculture, like where they're just in their own little world.
mhm,
And I can't help but wonder. when does that kind of when does that start to impact them? And I think that the last trend that we saw with Ant-Man, which is currently out now, it got kind of clobbered after its initial weekend. It won the weekend for sure. Nobody's going to say it didn't make money, but it hasn't bounced back from
Mhm.
where it should, and it's not looking well. And
Mhm.
that's been the trend line for a lot of these Marvel
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
It's because it's not woke or anti woke. It's because they're generic.
Well, because
Is
the
my point.
the majority of the audience isn't woke or anti woke or anything. They just want a good movie, and if you
Right. They
don't,
want
if you,
entertainment.
yeah, if you don't
Right.
provide that to them, they're not going to go see it. And you
Right.
can't
Simple as that.
you can't artificially um, make that happen. In the days of, oh, it's a Marvel movie, I gotta see the Marvel movie, is over.
Right.
They have to realize that. And then with the Star Wars thing, I think they've started to pull back on both the Marvel and Star Wars as far as the TV series. As far as they've realized they can't just throw everything out and people will watch it. People are picking and choosing what they want to see. Now, The Mandalorian is their bona fide hit for the
Sure.
for that
Absolutely.
channel that
Yep.
everybody's anticipating. And I did see the first episode, the new one. We're recording this Wednesday, Tuesday, so the next episode will be out tomorrow. But I liked it. It was what it is, which is, I don't think what they envisioned the show to be. I think they
Mm.
wanted it to be sort of a kind of a western with the Mandalorian as sort of this lone person kind of traveling the galaxy, getting into different adventures.
Right.
But they found Grogu. Grogu is turned out to be the star of the show. I think he
Right.
was probably going to be like the first season or two's story arc, and then they were going to go on, leave him with Luke, and go on with the Mandalorian doing his adventures solo. But everybody wants Grogu, so now we're saddled with Grogu. So so I think we're kind of handicapped with this little green guy, and like there's a scene where he goes back to I forget the character's name, but Carl Weathers' place, his planet, for help, and Grogu is in Carl Weathers' ruling chair and is kind of spinning around doing his little wacky
Mm.
things, and and Mando is talking to Carl Weathers, and he goes, that little, I didn't realize you're going to still be with this little green guy. And Mando goes, his name's Grogu. And Carl goes, oh, whatever. And that kind of encapsulates, I think, a lot of people's feelings about the show. It's like a Grogu,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
He's baby
It,
Yoda. He's baby Yoda. So I
he's
mean,
he is the 21st century Alf
uh,
for modern streaming TV.
yeah. Yeah, and the way the show is structured is, okay. They want to get to point A to point B. They find out they can't get to point B, so they have to do point A1. They try to do A1, and that blows up. So it's like a constant, race and stop kind of. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's doing the same stories over and over. It's like
Right.
they do an adventure, but they can't do that adventure, and they have to do this other one that gets
Wacky.
halted. Yeah, and then Grogu tries to eat the frogs. Uh oh.
Oh, the wacky. That's
So
so funny. I like how you
so
put it. It's true. It's like wacky. It's. I agree with your opinion. Like I don't love or hate it. I definitely. I actually from the other end of nerdom, I actually kind of caught some of the technical details because there's like a pirate ship or something, and
mhm,
it's like a new kind of class. And I'm the kind of nerd that like I like that stuff. And some of the
mhm,
Star Wars channels, the old school ones I follow, like they picked up on that and they were kind of talking about that. So like I kind of saw the coolness
yeah,
of the
yeah,
that
and
that I'll probably end up watching it
right.
at some point.
Yeah,
Probably.
the worlds that they're creating are cool, and like say I forget what the creature's called, but there's in the Jabba's palace, there's that little monkey thing that kind of laughs at Jabba's jokes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
In the newest episode, there's a scene where they're walking through the streets and they look up to these trees and there's a bunch of those guys hanging out, making noises. And it's of course the member berries is like, oh, I remember those guys. But it's just a brief scene that, that they then go on and they don't linger on it. They just kind of spotlight it. So that, that's kind of cute. And, yeah, I like that. But yeah, and the pirate thing was interesting. I like those type of characters, and I think they were kind of introduced in the Clone Wars series. And the one thing I will wholeheartedly recommend that's still going on right now is the current season of the Bad Batch, about the group of lone clones that are making their way on their own. That series is really good. It's kind of branched off of the Clone Wars, and I definitely recommend that one.
Very cool. Yeah, I was going to say sometimes I'll see things like that, like the ship or the talking about the technical things, and like I'll just forget momentarily. I'll get swept away with the tide, and I'll become a fan again, and I'll remember, and then I'll recall like where they're in the storyline and what could have been, and then I become an old man, and then I don't get out my lawn. Not really, but yeah.
Yep.
That's good. Yeah. So, yeah, definitely got to check out the. Of course, never mind what anybody else says. Go watch it yourself. Go make up your own mind. Like that. Never mind if somebody's gonna poo-poo on something. That's fine. But they're probably also trying to sell you something. Probably a T-shirt or something silly from their.
Yep.
Or a channel membership or something. But anyway,
yeah,
you try to stay away from that.
You probably need another Grogu doll, so and there's a Grogu Chia Pet, so you may need
that
to get
is
that.
true. I do have two on my mantle. I have like a big plushy one and like a more little mini size one. So I am guilty of the merchandise. So they got me. You got me. It's cute. It was Baby Yoda's back then when nobody knew nothing, and it was like, oh, what's going on? Like that was like.
Well, there's always that. At my local comic book shop, they have action figures as well, and there's a Marvel Select Hulk action figure that I keep picking up and looking at every week. So then now I go, do I really need another action figure? And my wallet's won out so far, but I don't know. I look for the upcoming podcast where I show off my new Hulk. He's actually pretty big. He's and for the size and what they normally price those at, it's reasonably priced, as
well, that's
Del,
what
Del Cooper would say.
Well, you're gonna get me. Well, the Funko Pop. While we're on the topic, they went bust. So like that's gonna be going the way of the dodo. But if I would like be in and out of the comic book shop or GameStop or whatever, these kind of things, I would always like to kind of pick up a Funko Pop thing. Like usually they were obscure in movies that I really liked.
Yeah.
And they were kind of cool, like until the dog destroyed it or the whatever, or it got lost or accidentally sat on or something. But aside from that, it's probably all this to say, it's probably just going to get me into action figures at some point, because that's something my brother-in-law is into, and he even paints them and does them up. So it's really cool, actually. When you get down to it.
Yeah. As far as Marvel characters, I think the ones that I always want as action figures, and I always like the monsters, so I like the Thing and Hulk. Those are my favorite Marvels. If not, if you include Conan the Barbarian in that, I would throw him there too.
Very cool. All right, well, moving on back into video game news here. This is I actually have quite a few kind of YouTube news clips, things, recommendations to watch, but basically, and we just kind of had a brief conversation about this offline here before we got started about PS5 and this and that and Xbox and VR. Anyway, I caught this in my regular news or my YouTube feed, and it was basically Linux Tech Tips. dude has a massive following on YouTube, and he has for years. And his typical shtick is he'll review the latest XYZ new tech thing and give an opinion. I've loved seeing his channel grow. I used to hate his channel, but not because of content or anything, just because I hated his voice. I couldn't stand the stop. I couldn't stand the pitch, the timbre. I just was like, I hate your voice. And plus, to me, he kind of looked like a little pipsqueak kind of thing. But that's a me thing. But putting that aside, I kind of started to fall into watch his content because say what you will about it, his voice or annoyingness or not, or Canadianness or not, it's a boot tame. But aside from that, all Canada jokes, he makes good content, and he says he gives a pretty fair shake opinion of the new. I guess PlayStation has a new upcoming VR thing, which just beats the pants off of anything you can connect to a PC. So that alone, this VR thing, as it's every generation, it's kind of bounced around from this company having the advantage to this one was HTC for a long time. Then it rotated to Oculus, and of course they're owned by Facebook, and now it's rotated back to PlayStation. So
Yeah.
that would be really cool. It's just going to cause you. It's going to be your fault, and it's going to be this thing's fault for me to go buy a PS5 at some point,
Yeah.
and have my wallet get beat up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Speaking of wallet fatigue.
Yeah, I think we've both independently have dipped into the VR. I think you did with the Oculus, wasn't it? And then
Yep. Oculus
I
2. Yep.
and I got the first generation of the PSVR. I got the PSVR for PlayStation 4, and
Right.
I have to say I really loved my PSVR. It was one of those times, there's some landmark times in your video game history where you're like, oh my god, this is something new, something amazing. I had that with with when I got my first Atari. I was like, oh my god, I could play video games at home, and then
Right.
but yeah, it was like experiencing a whole new experience for the first time. And the game the game that I was looking forward to that really paid off and was everything I wanted a VR game to be was Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil. Let me kind of break it up there. But but yeah, it was like living in a horror movie with Resident Evil 7, and I was looking forward to. So I'd heard that Resident Evil 8 was going to be VR as well, but then they said they canceled it, and I was so pissed off. And now here it is on PSVR 2. I ended up playing. So I wanted to play. Only wanted to play Resident Evil 8 VR, but I ended up thinking that wasn't going to come out, so I played it, out of VR on my Xbox, and I love the game. But my gosh, that game's probably going to end up me getting a PS VR2. But I just throw down all that money for the PS5, so it's going to be a little while before before I throw it down. And the price point for the PSVR 2 is a bit pricey. I mean, it's the same price as the I paid for the console, so you know.
And I get it. Like I don't necessarily have. I mean, I have kind of like oh my god, this is a completely different world. When I
Mhm,
tried the Oculus, very cool. There were a couple games that I haven't got to play yet, which I heard were really bangers, so to
mhm,
speak, as the kids say. There's a Star Wars Squadron game or something that
mhm,
was just really good with the VR, with the Oculus
mhm,
setup. But I need to revisit that. I didn't even get past the stupid. You can do these movie theater apps and like watch
mhm.
either local media or streaming media. But
Yep.
I mean, when you like look around and you see It really does. It really is cool. I just like I hold out hope for this because
Mhm.
um, I hope that they have something significant there. But like
Mhm.
there was like something there's something to say like when you put on a VR headset for the first time, and I'm envious of you because you actually got to play it with the VR. And the one that
Mhm.
I probably wanted to revisit was Fallout 4, and I
Mhm.
know they have a pretty damn good, decent mock-up of that, or a VR version, no matter what version you have, as long as you have it's more made in the last few years, you're gonna be fine.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
that's one game that I want to revisit
Mhm.
on the PC and play through because
Mhm.
like that is
Yep.
I love Fallout
Yeah.
4.
Yeah. And
Anyway,
first person games are incredible in VR. I played also Skyrim and Borderlands 2. They were also in VR on PS 4, PSVR. But yeah, those uh, yeah, I love every time I put on the PSVR. It was always fun to do, but getting everything out and getting it all together,
right,
I didn't do it all the time. It was like,
right,
oh, do I really want to pull everything out, or do I want to just pop in and play a quick game? So
right,
I don't think that will change with PSVR 2. There's a lot less stuff to get ready and set up, but yeah, that I'm kind of gauging how often I would play,
right,
plus how many games are actually out currently for that system that I would actually want to play. Uh, and I compare that to the price, and I'm like, okay, I can warrant the price for the the PS5 because there's all these games that are out and are coming out that I want to play just solely on my PS5. But the PS VR, VR2 is just I don't know. I don't think it's quite there yet. So I'm gonna like I got the PSVR immediately as soon as it came
right,
out, and I don't think I'll be that way with this. I don't know how. I know that it's not selling as well as they'd hoped. So um
right.
and that's kind of alarming too, because if it doesn't sell well, they're not going to make the games for it because there's not going to be enough systems out there. So it's good to wait right now, just to see if there'll be one a price drop, or if they stop supporting it.
Yeah, it kind of pick up where you're at. Like here's the pressure. Right. So I can either drop $1,000 on it. Just Linus's example here of a compatible PC and a Quest 2. But granted, I already have that, so I only spend half the cost. But let's be real, I'm not going to just spend. We just talked about this before the show. Like I'm not going to just spend $600 on a gaming rig. Pump that up to 1,000. It's more realistic. Just as a line, because you're going to do something. Because I'm a nerd and you're a nerd, and like we like that engineering brain nerd thing. But what I was going to say was 1050 for a PS5 and a single player. That's what it is. A
Uh-huh.
single player headset. That's dedication. Don't get me wrong. Or I can take that $1,000 and I can buy a short throw projector and screen, which is pennies on the dollar for a $1,000 laser TV is also
Uh-huh.
what they go by. Or and I can have this amazing 10-foot thing in my living room, or I can do this VR thing. And I mean, we'll
Yeah.
see. But that's kind of like just I've just kind of made that scenario up here. But
Yeah.
like there's going to be competing priorities, and at some point we I probably will. And not because necessarily I would want to or not, but I also have kids, and my
Mhm.
kids go wherever the games are at, and
Mhm.
our his PC is he's got a gaming PC he prefers to game on. I wonder why, because his dad is that is me anyway,
Mhm.
and I love the PC and gaming on it. It just makes sense. I think it's a better investment over time than like a console, but as prices come down, like we were just talking about this whole console, we should have recorded it. Actually, now that I think about it, because maybe I'm sure people have the same things, but you have the Xbox, you have this, you have that. But at some point, all this to say, I'm probably going to end up getting a PS5. And if I've already gone that far, well, shoot, I guess I got a little bit of a bonus around this, or maybe I saved up something, or
Yep.
eat ramen for a week or something. I'm just joking, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like, but I agree with you. The thing that the barrier to me to doing more VR was you really have to want to do it. And what I mean by that is you got to have your gear ready, all fired up, all batteried up. I don't know about you, but I got multiple things going on, this and that. Sometimes I plug things in, sometimes I don't. So I'll kind of be a little dolt here, and it's a real nut kicker when you finally get that little bit of time and you want to really go do something with something specific, like whether it's a game or a movie or show or whatever, and then you put the damn thing on and it's battery dead.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, oh well, I guess I'll just try this, and then I'll never pick it up again.
Yeah. Or you get everything ready and there's like a huge update that you have to set through or something like that. Yeah, there's
that
always
happens
something.
a lot too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, my kids are kind of like a buffer on that a little bit, because like if they have to deal with it, they're like, Dad, it doesn't work, and like, oh, you got to do the update. Then it's kind of ready for me to go, but it's few and far between.
Yeah.
But anyway, kind of moving on. I think this kind of moves us into our picks of the week as far as what we're reading, what we're viewing, and I'll leave you leading up to yours, because we could go on and on about the video game thing. But in any case, so you're reading this guy, huh?
Local Man. Yeah, it's I have a couple of independent comic book recommendations. Comes from us through Image. Yeah, it's Tim Seeley and Tony Fleece. Tony Fleece is coming off the huge success of the comic book Stray Dogs, and Local Man is basically, if you're familiar with the '90s comic books of Image, where it was like these big flashy superheroes like Wildstorm and I forget the name of. I think maybe it was Wildstorm that Rob Liefeld had. But yeah, it's those big macho superhero guys and the big bosom women. But basically, Local Man is basically one of those '90s superhero characters made up for this comic book. He's down on his luck. He's been kicked off his team for some indiscretion that no one really wants to talk about. Maybe it involves the superhero team leader's girl, but yeah. So he goes back home, and not even his parents are happy to see him. They kind of kick him around and make him feel unwanted. But yeah, it's got a real good boys feel to it. That sort of idiosyncratic, that taking the superhero character and putting it on its head. Is very well written. Yeah, that's the cover that makes it kind of look like a '90s Rob Liefeld type of superhero comic. But yeah, it's very well written. Like I said, it's got a big, especially the TV series Boys kind of feel to it. Again, it's sort of like a down on his luck superhero that has uh, uh, a thing against him, that where the superhero team that kicked him off has the rights to his powers and his image and everything. So whenever he tries to to do something good in his local community and defeat one of the bad guys, they show up and say, hey, you can't be doing this. Stop that. So yeah, he's very much down on his luck. His only friend is his parents' dog, a little dog there, so you can see that's hanging out with him. But yeah, so he goes back to his hometown and he's trying to get his life back together. But he's a superhero that's publicly been kicked out, so no one seems to like him, not even his parents.
That's funny. Yeah, I was going to say this is very appealing to me for some reason.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
definitely hitting the ping meter for sure for the '90s and the whole thing. Like, it looks cool.
yeah, and it's like I said, I haven't read a lot. I don't think I've read a lot from Tim Seeley, but he has a lot of good stuff but yeah, a lot of people say he's good. So, and this whole story was very appealing to me when I heard what it's about. And again, I read the first issue and it's really good. It came out a couple weeks ago. But yeah, definitely check it out. Either single issues or I'm sure there'll be a graphic novel collecting the first batch of stories
For
eventually.
sure. And then moving on, you had Phantom Road #1.
Yep, another indie title from Image, Phantom Road, which is written by Jeff Lemire, who has a laundry list of great things behind him. Basically, it's about a truck driver that seems to have went off road into an alternate reality where these zombie-like characters are walking around. So the first issue doesn't say a whole lot, but it's got a lot of atmosphere to it. Those are the creatures that he runs upon once he gets off road on the Phantom Road, I guess. And yeah, it's the art's great in it. And again, it starts a little slow, and there's not a whole lot of story to it, but it's got a lot of atmosphere to it, and made me very intrigued by it. So it's one of those that I'm going to keep following. Definitely based off of Jeff Lemire's past writing. I'm sure it's going to lead into some really great stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely have to check this one out for sure. And then I guess I might as well jump into mine real quick here. I didn't have any. I didn't have any pulls from Audible. I'm still working through Leviathan series, which is kind of like this thing. I thought it was going to be done at book 3. It's like got another 4. So there's no point in me covering that until I get done with the whole in block thing. And then of course I have your working this on the background. At some point we're going to have a Moorcock episode and kind of go from there. But taking our time on that because I really want to enjoy that, and I'm being selfish
Yeah.
because it's really good. Anyway, but continuing with my my YouTube polls, this is I watched this video, and it does a very good job of breaking down how men see things and how women see things from the standpoint of like a married guy, suburban dad type perspective persona. I guess this guy does he does it very humorous. He lays it out, and he makes some more succinct points on certain trends and patterns that have been going on throughout. Again, not woke or anti-woke. It's just kind of like a take on like. I think you're going to see a lot more videos like this, and that's kind of the reason why I pulled this. I normally wouldn't probably share something like this, but it's really not that spicy of an opinion. It really isn't. It's very milk toast. But the thing about it is, you're going to start to see more of these as kind of as Marvel gets more stretched out, as Star Wars gets more stretched out, and you see diminishing returns on quality for whatever reason, despite whoever is in charge or whatever. Like unless and until they can figure out, hey, maybe we should ease up on this and create scarcity, right? Because like that's the market dynamics. Like, oh man, I think I might have a visitor here. She might make an appearance here on the show. But my little kitty cat. Anyway, distract squirrel. Anyway, kind of moving on. It's just funny. It's a funny take. It's not really going to offend anybody. And then I just wanted to kind of put this out. This is kind of sort of a recommendation for the book, but it's Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. That's the first book, and what is now the Legacy universe, which is Disney's way of pretty much like after Return of the Jedi, anything written, published, or etc. is verboten. It didn't exist. It didn't happen, and then they cleared the way for what we currently are in today, which is whatever we're in. And they're kind of throwbacks where they begged, borrowed, and stole from the old expanded universe material. But anyway, I love it. These two guys, these two people, this guy and this gal, are nerds just like us. Says it in their Star Wars nerds. I've only seen one of their videos. Come here, kitty cat. Sorry, I have Mr. Clinton here to pet. But anyway, there's just two nerds that are into it. They're young, very young channel. They got 6K, almost 7K. So subscribe to them. Just like us, we're a lot smaller and more nobodies. But the whole point is that I really enjoyed. They're definitely 10, 15 years younger than me and you, Thomas, for sure. Not insulting anybody. That's just facts. So it's kind of cool to see the new generation go back and read A Sure Thing, what like this Timothy Zahn trilogy, which was supposed to be the official Lucasfilm extended beyond Return of the Jedi. This was the plan. It's at one point. I remember. It hardly had the internet back then, but I remember hearing things and little rumors about like what the next Star Wars thing would be. Of course, the prequels came out and kind of changed things up. The prequels were after, I believe, this trilogy. But if you want a really good entertainment, go read Heir to the Empire. And then next week, I think I'm going to come out with another Star Wars pick from the expanded universe that was just really fun to read. It's just kind of fun. This is the introduction of Mira Jade and Leia, and you get a little bit more flesh out of those characters, which we were robbed of from the newer stuff where they just kill them all off. And I understand why they did that. Just to be fair, they did that so that they could focus on new IP, presumably, and new storylines and this and that. It's just not quite going the way that they planned. I'll just leave it at that.
Their new characters don't have the same gravitas as the old ones. They haven't been able to win the old audience over.
Yeah, and anyway, all this to say, segue into your YouTube pick of the week for this. What is this one, Thomas?
Lazy Masquerade. It's this guy. He looks into creepy crime stories and different things off of the internet. I've seen several of his videos. The latest one that he did is a crime story that takes place in Hong Kong, where a model influencer ends up getting killed by her ex ex husband and former husband and his family, and she gets chopped up and put into a soup. But yeah, the human soup episode.
Shit.
It's been called the real life parasite incident.
Good God.
Kind of inspired by the kind of has some similarities to that Parasite movie from a few years back. But yeah, this is part of those kind of creepy videos that I like to watch. You know, when I get bored at 3 a.m. and want to get kind of scare myself a little bit, I'll look to see what Lazy Masquerades put out, or a few other people. But yeah, Lazy Masquerade. He's not American. I think he's from a European country, and he's lived in Japan for a while. So that's why he kind of has the Japanese mask, kind of scary mask in some of his videos. But yeah, he's got an interesting accent, and when he's narrating his videos, it's interesting to listen to him talk. I like his, as opposed to your guy that you don't like his voice. I enjoy this guy's voice and try to figure out what nationality he is.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and being honest, like I mean, it's it's safe to say that I've obviously gotten over my aversion to his voice.
Right.
But yeah, this kind of cool, scary pocket, scary stuff. You're great. You're a great resource for sure.
Oh yeah.
And at some point, we're gonna have along with our new look here in the show and new things we're doing. Well, at some point, I got to get back to the website and do something with it. So it's kind of in the way it is. But anyway, very cool, very cool. I think that kind of brings us up to the caboose for this week. Didn't have anything else to add, but we do have our recommendations in the description below for this comic or that show or that movie or that whatever. And check out our new latest one, Possession. It was a really fun ride. It is truly a horror gem that is not common
Yeah.
at all. So
Yeah, it's not your typical Freddy or Jason movie or Freddy Krueger. But yeah, it's a mind f, as they would say.
yeah, that
But
it
yeah,
is.
it has a monster in it, and it has some scary moments, and it has some moments that'll make you think, make you cringe, and just all around feel feel a little bad. But yeah, definitely check it out. Let us know what you think about the podcast and the movie. It's one of those that I'm always curious to see how people react to it. Yeah, I don't always recommend it to just about everybody. It's one of those you kind of have to know the person before you recommend it.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, with that coming up, I've been Mike.
And I'm Thomas. Oh, and I did want to mention that
Oh yeah,
our
please.
Jung E podcast, the lead actress to it liked my post on our when I was posting about the podcast where we talked about it. The lead actress that plays Jung E liked my comment. So
Very cool. Very
there
cool.
you
Yeah, and that will be down in the description below as well. So check us
go.
out on YouTube. We are fairly active there. Definitely Thomas is on that wing of the thing. Best that I stay off of Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I play we play good cop bad cop, and he's a little too bad on on Twitter. So
that is very true. Very true statement. But with that being said, we hope that you will, if you made it this far, like Thomas likes to say,
Mhm,
we hope that you give us a like, a comment, a subscribe, something. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us what you want to see more of. What you want to
mhm.
see less of. All that. We'd love to hear about it. With that, I've been Mike.
And I'm Thomas. Stay nerdy.